Police not giving no breaks. Okay.
I don't know what's happening.
All right. I am very excited today because we are doing a sponsored video with Smoky Mountain Knife Works, and we're stoked. We have the Lawman.
I'm still reeling on what just happened.
Real.
Were you just singing the cop song, the Bad Boy song?
Yeah, that's it. Cops filmed on location. Real men and women of law.
R.I.P.
And there's a reason why. Look what they sent us. And guess what? Top comment is going to get some chum. How about that? Some cool sticker action or some keychain action. I mean, what do we have? Got some cool keychain. Oh, by the way, top comment today is going to get, or not today, but, maybe in a week. The top comment will actually get a cool Rough Rider that they provided us.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little blue G10 scale moose here. I think that's a pattern. Two little clip points. Fun, neat knife. It's part of their new higher end setup. So I'm excited about that. Thank you, Smoky Mountain Knife Works, Greg and Isaac on the media team for working that out. And today's review is about, boom, the American Lawman. This is a requested video. And because we didn't have one...
You made a mess.
Yeah. Because we didn't have one, Smoky Mountain Knife Works was generous enough to send us a Lawman.
Yeah, so this video was requested. We had dropped a thing on Instagram, a question that was like, hey, what's some knives you'd like to see us review? And this one was specifically requested, and the fine folks at SMKW sent us one on loan.
Yeah, send us more. Yeah, send us more content that you want to see reviewed. We have connections. We might be able to get it. So, all right. Typical unboxing for Cold Steel. If you're familiar with Cold Steel, you get, sort of the colorful box with all the details on it. This is the 58B American Lawman, 3.5-inch blade. We'll do the specs. CPM S35VN, and it says it is 4 ounces, and the cool thing is...
You got the scale. Sorry, I'm scrolling to see if I can find the guy that...
I'm excited about the scales.
I'm
excited about the scale action, and I know you are too. So, without further ado, let's do the unboxing and get this thing underway. Comes in a box, comes with an extra pocket clip. Or is that...
No, that's for if you want to carry it reverse.
Yeah, for the other side because it's angled and so forth.
Yeah, so it's not ambidextrous.
They have to send you a pocket clip because of the angle, right? So you flip it over, use the other side.
It's an arrow. Yeah,
so my experience with Cold Steel, my very first kind of significant Cold Steel purchase was the original Recon 1 with that sliding bar, kind of like the Axis lock in AUS-8A. Still have that, by the way. This is nice. Look how thin that is.
Yeah, it's very thin.
That is fabulous. I love how thin it is because, you get kind of a Cold Steel, you expect to be a big, heavy knife. And this is definitely not lightweight. Let's see how much it actually weighs. And...
a little over 4 ounces.
4 1/4 ounces right there on our handy-dandy scale. And yeah, it's, can you flip it? Almost. Cold Steel are lockback, a lot of them, and they're heavy lockback. And so you kind of have to get after them to get them to open. But I'll tell you, this is better than a lot of them. Like, you can actually get it open. Right out of the box, no modification.
You could loosen it a little bit if you wanted to.
Well, you could.
It's actually a really simple design.
You could loosen it, but the tightness problem isn't the pivot. It's actually the literal sliding between that heavy lockback pressure to get that lockback to push. It's actually sliding against that. So that's what's causing the issue on Cold Steel knives, the opening. And it's not an issue because it's a more overbuilt knife, but this is almost like a gentleman knife in its slimness.
Yeah,
I'm really surprised it's that slim.
I really like the finger choil.
I do too.
It's it's actually way more comfortable than I expected it to be.
Me too, yeah. And one of the things that old school Cold Steel guys, the guys who've been in with Cold Steel for a long time, that when you had it, it tore your pockets up. Nothing fancy. You had videos on taking the pocket clip off, sanding down the G10 because it was so heavy. that it would literally just destroy your pockets and just fray them up. This is smooth. This isn't going to fray it up. This is, I mean, it's grippy, right? But yeah, so cool. I dig it. I dig it a lot. It is a pin construction, so some of you guys may or may not like that. It does have one
That's
screw.
interesting that it's pin construction.
It is, because you would think that they would do something else, but I guess to streamline production, it's a pin construction.
That's wow.
It's a stop pin, and then it's the back spring sort of pin right here on the back lock that sort of pivots. So the pivot is a pin. So to actually do deconstruction, you have to pop the pins, and you may or may not be comfortable with that. So the disassembly is not going to
Another
be
interesting thing. Let me see that. Okay, so you can change it. The thumb stud, it's not truly ambidextrous. It's got a little bitty tiny piece here, and then it's larger there.
Oh yeah.
So you would have, but it does have a little.
It's a flathead. Thank you. Can we get away from Torx? Can we please get away from Torx? Emerson is doing a great job with using real screws, and you're able to take them in and out. And if you're worried about losing them, get some blue Loctite. And factories need to stop using those screws.
It's funny. It's funny.
I don't know if it's an aesthetic thing.
All the other hardware on here is Torx.
I know, but you got that one, so they're heading in the right direction. But can we get away from the Torx bit, right? Because they strip out. You know what's interesting is Torx bits, on a side note, they're like 6 millimeter, but no, it's 6.5. Because there's wiggle room, and that's what causes the strip. And I use the best tools available trying to assemble, but I'm getting off on a tangent. So, all right, let's get down to the review of this bad boy. So, what is the first topic, Josh?
Ergos. Ergos, for me, I'm going to have to go with like a 7 out of 10.
All right.
There's some really great items really great pros they've got for Ergos. Personally, the thinness, it doesn't bother me as much as I thought that it would, but it certainly doesn't help. The finger choils are really great, but there's no jimping, really. Like, that's barely any jimping. And with this big finger choil, like, my thumb wants to naturally like go up here on the spine, where normally you'd find some jimping on a lot of knives. This one doesn't have it. It's very slick. I mean, really, the only jimping you have is 3 little notches right there on each side. But it is still comfortable. It's not an uncomfortable knife. It's just, I think there's some little things they could have done to up it. I would have personally liked it to have a little bit more thickness to the scales, and maybe, bevel them edges a little bit, and where it's a little bit more natural to the hand.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. It's like, for the money, you are getting S35VN, which is good, right? You're getting the really, really strong lockup. I think that this is probably a hard use knife, a serious knife, and definitely is on the thinner side. If you went thicker on the scales, I mean, I like thin though. See, that's the thing. Like, so for me on the Ergos side, when I hold this, it just falls naturally in places, and I really like that.
It is, but see, like, I just watched you. You put your thumb right there, and you grab that finger choil at the spine, and there's no, like, how it wouldn't have been any different or challenging to add some jimping to the spine of that knife.
Well, you're right. Well, maybe it needs an extra step in manufacturing, but
right,
that's
but
up to the
considering.
What's interesting is this is. Oh, look at that! Is that a PVD coating? I know we're supposed to be doing Ergos here. What does it say? It doesn't say. That is not Teflon, like they've used in the past. That's a big deal. That looks almost like PVD. I don't know what it is. It's kind of shiny, whereas PVD, is a little bit dull. Mm-hmm. But look at that. That is not Teflon. That is a metallic-y, reflective coating, almost like an anodized look. It's way better than Teflon because I don't like the way Teflon looks, and the way it wears is not attractive. I would prefer it to be some kind of a coating like that. So, yeah, Ergos for me, probably going to be an 8 out of 10. I like the size of it. I like how thin it is. I prefer a thinner knife. Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I'll tell you that this is kind of smoother than cold steels in the past.
Right.
They've always been hard, edgy. Comfort was never a concern.
Right.
And they actually were uncomfortable to use a lot of times. But you were kind of like, yeah, it's a cold steel. It's tough. I'm going to throw it into cinder blocks.
Right.
That kind of thing. And it opens nicely, which I like. So that's me. What's the next category?
Well, it's interesting, real quick, before we get off into the next category, the way that, like you're talking about cold steel is kind of how I feel about Emerson. And it's interesting because you're talking about that grippy G10, which Emerson still uses a very grippy G10.
It's extremely grippy.
So it's interesting that they got away from it because I know with Emerson, there's a purpose for that grippy G10. And I'm sure the same purpose was for the cold steels as well. So very interesting. The next one will be tactical. So from a tactical perspective, I mean, especially like right here, there's this like really deep choil, which gives you
you're not sliding.
Right. From a tactical perspective, I mean, this is up there. It's, I mean, with the exception of, I think it takes away the tacticalness of it, that grip. I think not. It's still a very tactical knife, but it's not as grippy. So if it was wet, there is a potential for a little bit of slide there. But like I said, you got that big choil. I'm probably going to go 8 out of 10 for tactical for this knife.
Cool. I think for me, this is like utilitarian tactical from the blade shape. They're kind of thinking it's a drop point and with a lot of belly. So this is like seat belts.
It's a very EDC tactical.
It is very EDC.
Very similar
tactical.
to the grip Tillian.
You can see it be Lawman would be an understandable, name for it.
Would you put that in the same category as like a grip? As far as
I don't know,
knife use?
Yeah, to a degree.
I mean, I think it's cooler than a grip. But when I say grip, I'm talking about a Benchmade grip Tillian. We did a review on that. We'll link it above.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's got that cool all black. It's got American Lawman. It's a cool name. I like the design.
But
of
it's like
the Ergos are better.
It's like a tactical EDC knife.
Yeah, it is. My downside for tactical on this, and I'm probably going to give it more of a probably a 6 out of 10.
Interesting.
I really struggle with this on the tactical side because of that.
Yeah, the draw.
This is the struggle, is that Cold Steel actually has a line. This is more EDC to me than tactical. They have a line where they, kind of take off on a wave opening and they put a plate on top and it snags the pocket and opens instantly. This is a slow knife, and I'm not as excited about that on the tactical side. I don't, it is tactical because it is a 3.5, 3.5 inch blade, so it comes right at tactical length.
How sharp is it? I don't even check. Pretty sharp out of the box.
Mm-hmm. It's good. It's what you'd expect from a belt grinder. I mean, it'll cut you.
Well, a dull knife will cut you.
Well, that's true. Oh, that's nice. So I don't have any paper sitting right here to do a cut test, but it would cut paper no problem. So. But, so that's it for me on that. What's the next one?
The next one we have is EDC.
Oh.
Well, this is a very EDC blade.
Yes.
Like you said, it's very utilitarian.
Yes.
We were talking about the tactical. That didn't even cross my mind, the fast draw.
Yeah.
Because I guess there's two mindsets to tactical, right? Like you draw it in a self-defense type of option, or you see something happening and you draw it before you're involved.
Yep.
But feeling it, like even just a little bit, we've been opening it. It's loosened up a little bit, and you could loosen that. And I honestly think you probably fling this one open.
I don't know. And maybe over time, but that it's the friction against the back lock once
Yeah.
again. That's what does it.
So for EDC,
Which is good for cold steel on that though, because that's the best back lock cold steel I've ever tried. And I haven't tried some in a little bit, but that's
almost like blued, by the way.
It is. It's a neat coating. I kind of like it. I'd be interested to see how it would wear. It would probably wear in a coating way and sort of gradually rather than kind of strip and chunk off.
You can kind of see it on the bevel there, right coming off the bevel where they've sharpened it.
Yeah, and it'll polish. You can tell too. Like
getting into EDC, I know we're kind of all over the place a little bit because it is a very interesting knife.
And neither one of us have carried it. So this is kind of an unboxing review. You know, it's a little different.
I think it's very EDC. It's got a great steel, S35VN.
Yeah.
Great grind for EDC.
It does have
great size. Very light, very narrow, fit in the pocket well. Great choils for little everyday tasks. Again, I wish there was jimping there. But that could easily be modded if you have any minor skill with, simple garage tools. You could probably get in there and mod that a little bit.
Yeah, you could do it. I put choils on knives all the time.
So, EDC, I'm going to say 9 out of 10.
Okay, cool. I agree. That's where I'm at, 9 out of 10 with EDC. I believe it's going to get slicker and faster the more you use it. And that's as slick and as fast as a back lock can be almost.
Yeah.
Is that. So very, very EDC. The drop point is good. This is it looks like a nearly full flat grind there. I'm trying to see.
It looks like it to me.
It does look like it. I'm just kind of a way to tell a flat grind versus a hollow grind is it's kind of difficult to tell. But you sort of pick up images, and if the image is true to life, like in scale and not bowed, then you know that it doesn't really have a hollow. It's more of a flat.
Like a reflection.
Yeah, pick up a reflection, and it is a slightly hollow grind, and so that's interesting.
Which is great for EDC.
It is.
And bushcraft.
Yes.
Honestly.
It allows you to have a really, really slicey, dicey cut. And that is some pretty thick stock.
You know what that blade shape is very reminiscent of? Hinderer blades. It's very close. It's not quite the same.
No.
But it's very close.
That's true. I can see that. So, yeah, from an EDC task standpoint, I think you would be well served. Will you love the pocket clip? I mean, cold steel... That's the most controversial thing about sort of the design is their pocket clip, really, because of some people like a short pocket clip. It's not deep carry. It's stiff, and it has pros and cons, right? It doesn't go into the pocket super quick, but it doesn't fall out of your pocket either.
Yeah, but you pair that with a lanyard, though, and I think you...
Yeah, I think you'd have a good draw. So yeah, no, definitely an EDC knife, and I love how. That profile is the first thing that got me. I love when I feel something has a little bit of weight to it and it's thin. That means they have to use higher quality, stronger materials so that it can be thin. They actually have to use G10 and not just plastic so that it's substantial, right? Because thin plastic doesn't weigh anything and it feels flimsy, right? Which some people complain about the bug out. This doesn't have that.
Well, the SOG... what was that SOG? The little small one? Was it the Terminus XR? The small one.
Mm-hmm.
Remember they had the carbon fiber one, and you could literally squeeze those scales. I personally didn't like that. I like a knife that feel a little bit more overbuilt.
And this is a pure scale is the support. This is a G10 knife. This does not have liners.
Interesting.
No liners.
That's what makes it so narrow. Then I guess
that's what makes it so narrow and so reasonably lightweight for such a wide, thick 3mm chunk of blade. So yeah, I like the design of it a lot. It's a very, very simple utilitarian. You got that black tactical EDC feel. It does a great job with that. What's the price on that? Smoky Mountain Knife Works. I'll look it up real quick.
Yeah, I think it's like right at $100.
Yeah, it seems
I believe
somewhere in that neighborhood.
While you're doing that, I'm going to jump into the cool factor. So, from a cool factor perspective, for me, I mean, it's kind of an ongoing joke that I wear a lot of black. My knives, I tend to get black knives. I tend to get neutral knives. The color knives that I own is because usually it's because Greg's like, man, you need some color in your knives. So I tend to lean more towards black. However, it's kind of plain, comparing black knives.
It is DLC coated.
Oh, is it now?
That's awesome. So that means that's a really, really tough coating, and it will show wear without that whole weird flaking off.
Right.
DLC to me makes that knife go to that next level. I love DLC coating. I like more of a matte DLC, but a reflective DLC looks good too.
Well,
and it's not like
you can see those grind lines.
You see the grind lines in it. That's what was like. Wow, that's really neat. And it's $113.99.
Yeah. Okay.
And 4 people have reviewed it, and it's a 5.0 as of the date of this recording. So
interesting.
Yeah, I would say the weight is a little bit off. It's 4 1/4 ounces instead of 4. Anyway, we just weighed it. So, and my scale is perfectly 0, so we're good.
Yeah. So for cool, I'm probably gonna go 7 out of 10. It is cool. I love the all black. I like the DLC coating. It's got a cool profile. I really dig the big, deep finger toil there. Don't care much for the pocket clip.
Yeah.
Don't care much for how they design the thumb studs. Just in my thought, if they would have spent a little extra time, gave you an ambidextrous thumb stud, and add some jimping, it would have been a next level.
Cool. Yeah. Cool factor.
Cool. Yeah. No pun intended.
Yeah. I mean, I'll do a 5 out of 10 because it is not cool to me. It just doesn't have. It doesn't.
I'll say this: it's a heck of a lot cooler than a Griptilian.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
And I don't hate Griptilians.
It's not that cool to me. Just because it's a flat slabbed G10 drop point knife. I mean, that to me is just okay. Now the DLC that ups the cool factor quite a bit. The DLC that they chose to do is not the matte DLC, which shows like you touch that and it looks like it's worn already just by touching it. So this is a reflective DLC, but it still looks good. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. I don't dig the cold steel pocket clip. It would be nice if they would finally just redesign it, right? Right, catch up with the modern era. But from a usability standpoint, it's fine, right?
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of features on this knife. This is getting into the overall. I feel like there's a lot of features on this knife that are just lackluster, but it doesn't diminish the usability of it. Like, it's a very user-friendly knife. It's a knife you could carry every day. If you're just wanting a knife as a tool, this is probably the knife for you. I think for us, with a lot of the knives we carry, we see how they progress and change things like pocket clips and thumb studs and add really, extreme jimping like, that Medford there. Like the jimping on this is so extreme. And then you get into like this Kiku here, which we use all the time, where there's jimping all the way up.
Yeah.
Like, I just think that's another feature that they could have added that would have really elevated this knife.
Yeah.
So overall, I'm thinking like a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I think you agree with that?
Yeah, actually that was my score.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's a good score because I think you're getting, at 114, you're getting DLC S35VN at $113 on a knife that has serious lockup. It is extremely tough and resilient. And
for what it is, it's actually a really great value.
Yeah, it's a great value for what it is, and I would not be ashamed to carry this. I think that this is a user knife, right? Because you're not buying it because it's cool. You're buying it because you're going to use it, and you want that edge retention to be there so you can make it home and not have to figure out too much about, is it still going to be usable? So.
Right.
Yeah, no, I dig it. I like it. The simplicity of it is there. It's a very Spartan-esque knife. I think it would serve you very well. Good pocket profile, nice and wide, and that does help. it sit in the hand pretty well. So I think a 7 overall is pretty good.
Hold that again. Open it and hold it, just like you did. Where's that? See, that's something we didn't talk about. I don't care for lockbacks, for a hard use knife, in your hand, that muscle, that thumb muscle falls right on that lock. So in a real hard situation, do you feel like you could compress that?
No.
And it would close?
I'm
No?
trying. And the more pressure that's against the spine, the more it pushes against that.
Right.
So it's like, here,
No, yeah, I see what you're
you
saying.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It like won't give.
I'm just, maybe it's a peace of mind thing for me. I just don't care much for lockbacks.
Yeah.
But
Well, some lockbacks are easy.
yeah,
This is not an easy lockback. You put any downward pressure on this, and oh, I just cut myself almost. And you know, it doesn't want to give way.
it's first time for everything on this show.
There you go. It doesn't want to give way, right? It's not so easy, but you have to really get in there with your thumb to get it to close. So there you go.
You know what's crazy? This case in my hand, I feel like is more tactical than this knife.
I wouldn't say that, but it's definitely going to go deeper. Whatever it goes into, because it's so sticky. It's a Warncliffe.
So, guys, again, you know, thanks to Smoky Mountain Knife Works for sending us this to review. You know, all this chum here.
We're going to do some giveaways. So top comment, you're going to get some cool stuff.
Yeah. So definitely comment below. You know, what's your thoughts on the cold steel? Would you buy it? You know, do you feel like $114 is a deal for this knife?
I feel like they wanted us to do a honey badger review, like on the
sent us a lot
lowdown
of
on the
honey badger
DL.
stuff,
They're
yeah.
like, here, they sent us a bunch of honey.
Hey, I'm
badgers.
all down for a honey badger review. Send
Yeah,
it,
we
we'll
need
do
to.
it.
That's a great value. Let us know. Do you want to do a budget value kind of knife? And if you are familiar with the honey badger, do you want us to do a honey badger review?
Yeah. Honestly, guys, anytime you want us to review a knife, just let us know, and we'll do what we can to get that knife and review it. I know we've got some coming up that's more popular right now, like Civivi and Wii. Like those are real popular. I don't think either one of us own any Civivis or Wiis. But
No, we
know
have
people.
access to some. We know some guys that do.
Yeah,
it's easy to do, and I got a feeling that Smoky Mountain Knife Works would. I'm hoping I'm feeling, baby. The Smoky Mountain Knife Work vibe is good, right?
Yeah, man.
Give us some access stuff. Tell us what you want to see.
Guys, and listen, Smoky Mountain Knife Works. Surely, if you're watching this channel, you are aware of Smoky Mountain Knife Works. But if not, they have an excellent YouTube channel. Check them out. Follow them on Instagram, guys. And it is the largest knife showroom in the world.
Yeah, there's no better place to go visit, and also deal with online as well. They may have some products that are hard to find other places because their inventory is so large. You might be able to pick it up from them. So go check out Smoky Mountain Knife Works.
Yeah, I don't think you'll be sorry.
Yeah.
And as always, guys, thanks for watching, and stay sharp.
Stay sharp.
Body now getting no breaks. Police not giving no breaks.